think everyone's just really excited and yeah, I'm still sort of in the honeymoon phase with it all, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And I was speaking to Carrie Matchett there just an hour or so ago, and she plays President Michelle Travers. And she was telling me of her audition process was the sort of simple, the normal audition process now that we have at the moment with this online sort of tapings, talent agents sort of reaching out, sending it off, not knowing whether you're going to hear anything back about it. Was it sort of similar for you, Ariane, or did you get a bit of info in terms of what they were looking for and who was maybe attached and involved with this after season one? Was it, or was it still very much secrecy under wraps? And did you know it was a Netflix show?
I definitely knew exactly which show it was. It had a code name and but I knew the inside scoop and yeah, I got the audition through my team and submitted a tape. And I was actually off to a friend's. I was in New York at the time, and I was supposed to leave to a wedding the next day, in Mexico. And I sent off the tape. And then later that same day, they were like, "Oh, they really want to meet you in person. They're in New York right now. Like the creators want to meet you. Sean Ryan wants to meet you. Casting, like, so can you cancel your trip?" I was like, "Yes, let's do it." So I canceled the trip and I stayed and I met with them and that it kind of solidified things with the role and then shortly after I heard that I'd gotten the job and yeah, that was kind of how it all went down.
Yeah. And Ariane, in terms of playing this character and perception, in terms of wardrobe, had your sort of your own ideas? Did you do a bit of research into the sort of the look, the sort of secret agent, the whole sort of backstory to Noor in terms of to try and portray her and maybe look into that side of the world in terms of the dynamics to get a feel for it? Was there very much did a bit of self research apart from the notes that you had already taken, been
Yeah,
given?
well, I am American, but I was born here, but my father is Iranian. So I've been to Iran many times. I have family in Iran. I speak Farsi. I'm very in touch with that side of my culture. And I've seen what people dress like. So I kind of, in conjunction with our amazing wardrobe, head of wardrobe, Jen, she came in with all these ideas, all this research that she had done, and it was very collaborative. And yeah, I mean, they kind of nailed it right on the head. I'm just an average person, put in a very extraordinary situation, if you will. So my clothing was not exactly like secret agent type clothing. In fact, I had this one very
Sure.
um with this one jacket, this puffer jacket that like just took us through the entire season that Noor is wearing for the whole season. And it was just the bane of our existence because the sound on the jacket itself was always just a pain. But yeah, she kept it pretty simple. Noor was very like had her hijab in the work environment, and then when she was outside of work in the city, she let her hair down and yeah, very simple clothing for sure.
Yeah, and Ariane, we get to see most of your scenes. We see a split dynamic in season two. We see your backstory running along co-tangent with Gabriel, Basso, and Luciane, who are on a different sort of path, and obviously your paths sort of wind up meeting. But from the start, you're sort of paired off with Keon Alexander, who plays Javid, and we see most of your interactions, and that's how we get to know you. We wondering is a romance sort of blossoming in the offing there? Is a sort of a perfect sort of two people from difficult past finding love and foreign soil, but dare I say that relationship goes sour fairly quickly due to the writing of Sean Wright.
Yeah, I mean, I think Noor's really in it for her family. I think she's her number one goal is to assure safety for her family. So unfortunately, Javad is just a bit of a pawn. He's just something to move along what she needs, and his feelings get caught in the crosshairs. And I think maybe for a moment she considers like in an alternate life being with somebody like him. But I think for the most part, it does turn sour quickly because she has one goal in mind, and that's to get her family to safety.
Yeah, and we mentioned that sort of family dynamic as well, and the Lyle and the lying and betraying that Ariane has to that Noor has to go through. She dare I say she plays it on both ends. She receives an awful lot of lies, but she dishes out the lies as well in terms of that. And the interaction with her family, did you do any bit of chemistry reads with your mother and sort of son to get that sort of niche, your mother and brother, I mean, to get that sort of niche in terms of dynamic, or did you actually ever meet on set?
We
Ever?
so they we didn't do any sort of chem reading. I think they were very fortunate that the actors that they found, they were just so talented, and we had this like instant chemistry with my mother and I. Marjan, who played my mother, she yeah, we met for a coffee prior to shooting, and it was we sat there for like 3 hours, just couldn't get enough of each other, just talking and getting to the root of understanding one another, and it was really special and kind of seamless when it came to the work.
Mm. And tell me, how was it when you finally got pitched alongside Gabriel Basso, who plays Peter Sunderland, and we see he's very sort of engrossed in that sort of character. I imagine when he was set, he was on set, he was in the zone for the whole sort of shoot in terms of even between takes, because it's a very fierce sort of demanding role. Did you almost get to feel that you were that action sort of sequence came alive when your Pat sort of met for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is a very dedicated, talented individual who puts the work first always, which is very admirable. And we also did find times on set to laugh, because it's just long hours. You're together in the wee hours of the morning, and it's sometimes freezing cold and not ideal circumstances where you're just kind of laughing and chattering through it all, because you have to find the levity in those moments. It's a very like intense show, and I think working with him and working with Luciane, like we had a lot of good laughs as well. But yeah, Gabriel is definitely a very intense, very passionate individual about what he's doing with the work, and just also like all around badass human. Like he does all his own stunts, and he's very, what's the word, meticulous with all the stunt work, which is very cool to see. So yeah, it was really just a treat to work with all of them.
Yeah. And Ariane, did you do an awful lot of block shooting in terms of location sort of shooting when you were out and about? And did you get to sort of partake in sort of those sort of stunts yourself?
Um, Alas, Noor does not have many stunts other than one specific one, which they did consider it a stunt, but it's I take a bit of a tumble on the stairs, and that is my stunt of the
That is your
season.
stunt.
Very much waiting for the round of applause. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it was that was my one and only stunt, and it was, I was hoping for some more because I love that sort of action stunt work, but yeah, we leave all that to the night agent himself.
Yeah. And Ariane, what's been the reaction for you since it's come out in terms of the buzz, the hysteria, in terms of that? Are you still sort of taken back by it? Obviously, you probably know that you're probably onto something gold when you said on the stage, but it has even surpassed your wildest dreams?
Um, I mean, yes, it definitely surpassed any. I don't know if I had any expectation of how things would go. I just knew that I loved the story that we were telling and the opportunity that I was given from the writers and from Sean Ryan, like to bring such a complex character to life and such rich storytelling. So, it's really cool for me, like when people approach me on the street and they have something great to say about how Noor's story touched them or how much they enjoyed seeing the Iranian storyline. Like that's very exciting for me. And obviously there's the outreach on social media, which has also been very abundant. And yeah, I think it's, it keeps the gift that keeps on giving, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I suppose, Ariane, before we came on air, you mentioned as well that you might have some other projects in the pipeline that we might be seeing or you on our TV screens or movie screens in the near future, is sometime in 2025. You might enlighten us on one of those two things if you have disclosure to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't divulge too much, but I am actually going off to Kentucky to shoot a project, a film that we're starting up in about 3 weeks' time.